Spain defeated England in the Euros final on Sunday and prevented the Euros from coming home. But how did they exactly manage to do so is exactly what we are going to find out in today's video. So without any further ado, let's get straight into it. So firstly, let's talk about the lineup. Spain lined up in the more commonly used 4-3-3, while England lined up in a 4-2-3-1. On paper, it clearly looks like Spain were more balanced, and England, although didn't have the ideal balance so far, but they were able to get the results, and this is why I think that Southgate kept the same lineup that had performed so far and was getting the results. So as soon as the game started, Spain made their intentions very clear, and their dominance on the ball started from the get-go, from the very first minute. And Spain used a 2-3-2-3 build-up structure, which is a very common positional structure, by the way. And as you can see, these are the positions that the Spanish players took in the positional structure. A very common position structure. However, one little change that Spain did make was both the wingers Nico Williams and Lamine Yamal were playing more as an inside forward, while Cucurella and the right back Dani Carvajal were holding the width for the Spain, which is not mostly what we have seen in the tournament so far. Sometimes both Yamal and Nico Williams are the ones that are holding the width, while Cucurella and Dani Carvajal are the ones making the half spaces run. As for the defense, Spain did not really have any main defensive structure or a rest defense structure. However, their aim was to counter press English players as soon as they got the ball in their half and win the ball as soon as possible. And we can see this from an example of Bellingham. As soon as he gets the ball on the far side, 3-4 Spanish players immediately chase him down and eventually win the ball back. The aim from the Spanish players was to overload the side of the ball. However, this allowed a lot of space on the opposite side, and this was exploited by England on few occasions by using the switches from left to right hand side, and this allowed Saka to get into few good positions in the first half. But this is something that England should have used a little more than what they actually did. So now let's talk about England's build-up shape. England used a 3-1-6, as you can see here, with Kyle Walker inverting as a centre back. And one thing I really wanted to highlight here is look at how isolated Declan Rice is. And I know he has gotten a lot of criticism from fans regarding his contribution in the build-up, but the Gareth Southgate system doesn't really help him either with his build-up play. Another thing I wanted to highlight here is that England wanted to take advantage of their aerial prowess against Spain, and this is one of the reasons they used this structure, as it was a common theme that the centre backs would have launched it forward and hoped that Harry Kane won the first ball, and this allowed them to gain further up the pitch. This is the first mistake Gareth Southgate made by playing Foden in behind Kane, as Foden is not a player who likes to get in behind. However, if Southgate preferred Bellingham behind Kane, he might have gone in behind, and his positional awareness is much better than Foden's, and he would help England in succeeding with their initial plan. Nonetheless, Kane really had an underwhelming game, as he was not getting into good positions and was too far away from the goal. Few situations he was too isolated as well. As you can see, he receives the ball way too away from the goal and tries to shoot, but is eventually closed down by Spanish players, and this results in a goal kick. England's defensive structure was much better, as they used a 4-3-1-2 when the ball was in Spain's half, while when the ball got into their half, they quickly changed into a 4-4-2 structure, and they defended pretty well in the first half until Luis de la Fuente made a superb little change in the second half. So in the second half, Luis de la Fuente made one small tweak in his game plan, but it completely shifted the momentum towards Spain. And what he did here was he shifted to a build-up structure of a 2-4-1-3 and played Olmo right behind Morata, and this completely shifted the game towards Spain, as England did not really have any solution to this change. And as you can see here, how much space Olmo has. And one thing Luis de la Fuente did was provided Olmo a lot of freedom to roam around. And just 1 minute later, we see that Olmo makes a run in an empty space and drags Walker with him, while leaving a lot of space in behind for Nico Williams, and Nico Williams gets the chance and scores Spain's first goal. And I really apologize for the edit, as it is written Spain's second goal, and while it was the first scored by Spain. And just not this, 2 minutes later, Olmo makes another similar sort of run, drags Walker again with him, who had a terrible game by the way, and again leaves a lot of space in behind, and Spain do get a chance, but they were unable to take advantage of this chance. And in the first 15 minutes of the second half, the game had completely shifted towards Spain, and they were completely dominant and got few good chances as well, and until Watkins was brought on by Southgate, and he also made few structural changes which allowed England to get a chance back in the game. However, England's positioning and defensive structure was still very questionable, and this allowed Spain to have few very good chances, such as Yamal got two really good chances which he was unable to take advantage of. However, despite scoring, one thing that Spain constantly did was their counter press, and this eventually led to the England's first goal. As you can see here, Cucurella was caught out of position by Bellingham, who eventually found Saka in behind, and this meant that Laporte had to go to cover Saka and left a lot of space. Saka eventually finds a good pass for Bellingham, who lays it off for Cole Palmer, who finishes it off brilliantly. And I'll take a moment here to appreciate this finish from Cole Palmer, because in this situation 8 out of 10 players go for the top bins. However, he drags it low and eventually gets his reward. What a player he is, by the way. However, after scoring, England shifted to a 4-1-4-1 structure, but just the lapse of concentration for a moment, and they left a lot of space between the lines, and this allowed Spain to craft a brilliantly worked goal, and which was eventually finished off by Oyarzabal, which eventually meant that Spain got their victory, and a much deserved one. So here I wanted to speak about a few things that I really think led to Spain winning the Euros. So the first thing is their understanding of the game. Each and every Spanish player is very well adapted to the total understanding of the game, when to press, when to stay back. I know Cucurella had a mistake, however, except for that, Spain had a brilliant game, a flawless one in my opinion. The thing I really wanted to speak about is external factor that really affected the outcome of the final, which is who wants it more. This is a very common phrase we hear in sports, who wants it more, and it clearly looked like Spain really wanted it more than England, which eventually leads to me to saying Spain were the more deserved winners of the Euro final. But here I want to take few minutes to talk about two players in particular. Number one is Jude Bellingham, just 21 years of age, and what a brilliant game he had. And I know he has gotten a lot of criticism, and I couldn't understand why, because he was the only English player who was willing to take risks, and he was trying to come up with solutions, while no other England player was trying to do anything out of the box. And he eventually got the assist for Palmer's goal as well. And another player I really wanted to talk about is Rodri, and what a phenomenal player he is. I know he's just played 45 minutes after eventually getting substituted due to an injury in the second half, but those 45 minutes were crucial in Spain's victory, as there were a lot of situations just outside the box where England got into good positions and Spain really didn't have it covered, but Rodrigo single-handedly right in front of the two centre backs was defending that Spanish goal brilliantly, and he was also brilliant with his contributions in the build-up, which eventually led to him winning the Euros Player of the Tournament, a much deserved one as well in my opinion. Another thing I really wanted to speak about is Rodrigo getting his flowers, and I really believe that he should be in the top 3 for the Ballon d'Ors. I'm not really sure about him winning the Ballon d'Or. I think Vinicius might just stop it for me, but he definitely needs to be in their top 3. What are your thoughts about the Ballon d'Or, and where does Rodri deserve to be? Let me know in the comment section below. So that's it for the video, and if you have made it till here, I would really appreciate if you could drop a like and subscribe to my channel. And I hope this video was informative and you eventually got a little bit insight on how Gareth Southgate was defeated by Luis de la Fuente's Spain. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.